and welcome to another episode of Out of Thin Air. And today we're joined by Thinaer's EVP of Strategic Accounts. Welcome, Cliff.
Thanks, Beverly. Glad to be here.
So today, Cliff Tironi is going to talk to us a little bit about partnering with Thinaer and different opportunities that exist. So to get started, Cliff, can you just give us an introduction about your role at Thinaer and how long you've worked here?
I've been with the company for almost 4 years now. I oversee our strategic accounts, which is a mix really of three different things. It's part new business development. It's part working with our client operations team when we do have a new client that we're onboarding and working with the client operations team to convert that from a pilot to a longer engagement. And then it's also part working with our great channel partners that we have in our ecosystem.
That's great. Seems like you have a lot of hats that you're wearing. So to start off, maybe give us an overview of what the Thinaer Channel Partner Program is.
The Channel Partner Program, it's a way for us to extend our services and strategically align with other partners, companies out there to add that much more value to the clients that we serve. And generally, we can break down three different buckets of partners that we work with. One is the cloud providers like Microsoft Azure and Amazon's AWS. The second bucket are the consulting companies that offer different services around data and AI and change management and operations transformation. And then the third bucket are with what I'll say are the communications providers. So think of companies that offer different access points and Wi-Fi networks or even mobile and cellular services. So those are the three different types of, generally speaking, of partners that we've been working with. We've lined up just some really, really great people to work with to help extend our services and our platform.
That's really interesting. So just to kind of dive deeper into that, how would Thinaer enhance the capabilities of, let's say, a consulting firm and vice versa?
Yeah, so Thinaer as an IoT platform, we make it really easy and really quick and really effective to capture data quickly and cheaply and at scale on a company's operations. And so imagine if you're a manufacturer and you wanted to capture data on your equipment that you use to produce things. We would be able to capture data on the vibration of those motors to understand if those machines are going to fail. Or let's say you want to store your items that you manufacture in rooms that are have to be environmentally controlled. So have a certain level of temperature, humidity, we can capture that data. The reason why we work so well then with consulting firms is because we're able to feed them a ton of data very quickly, very easily, and at scale that they can use to do the good work and the magic that they do when it comes to designing change management initiatives or designing process redesign. And so all those real rich services, our companies certainly can benefit from Thinaer standalone. But there are some companies that want that extra level of service. And in those cases, it makes sense for us to bring in one of our partners to help extend that.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about some successes that you've had with partners, particularly communications companies.
Communications companies, there's a number that we work with. And one of the great ways that we partner with them is that they have Wi-Fi access points that are already established in, let's say, a manufacturing warehouse. And so that warehouse already has Wi-Fi capabilities. Why we work so well with them is because we've integrated our platform with the communications firm's platform. This is an example of one of our sensors that captures, let's say, the real-time location of an asset or even temperature. This sensor, rather than us having to install these little mini USB gateways, which are very easy to install, you can just plug them in, a client of ours could potentially not even need to purchase those gateways and not even have to plug those in because we can point our sensors to the existing access point infrastructure that a client has already purchased. And so it's a win-win-win. It's a win for the customer because they can spend less money on purchasing hardware and they can tap into the resources that they already have available to them. It's a win for the communications partner because it helps to extend and make their services stickier with the client. And it helps Thinaer because we already have a very fast to deploy solution, but it just makes us that much faster to deploy when we can just roll up, start putting some sensors on equipment and materials, and have that point up to the existing access points.
Wow, that's really interesting. So we've talked about consulting firms, we've talked about communication companies. So maybe finish it off by talking about how cloud service providers kind of partner with Thinaer.
Cloud providers like Microsoft Azure, like Amazon's AWS, they have really, really great services that they offer when it comes to cloud computing and why they have an interest in partnering and why we have an interest in partnering with them is just given the breadth and depth of their experience and how robust their services and cloud capabilities are. But we work so well together because lots of clients have commits that they have to do to these companies. And so by a customer working with Thinaer, that customer is able to decrement the amount that they've committed to those cloud providers by using Thinaer. And so it's a great way for the customer to use that commit that they've set out for with those cloud companies. It's a great way for the cloud companies to get those meters spinning. And it's a great way for Thinaer also to partner as well. So that's another win-win-win situation. We're all about creating win-win-wins when we talk about go to market with our, with partners and of course with clients.
So, what are some other ways for companies who might not fit into those categories to partner with Thinaer's IoT solutions?
Yeah, we're certainly open to considering. Those are just kind of three general buckets. But if there are other types of companies that are out there that think that there may be a strategic alignment with what they offer and what we offer and how that can really ultimately serve the client that much better, we're always open and love to explore creative solutions that we ourselves may not have thought of yet.
Okay, so you've explained how the partnership works. Kind of stepping back and looking at IoT and the industry in general, what are some strategies that companies could use to overcome that initial resistance that they might face in adopting IoT solutions?
One of the ways is we make it very, very easy to deploy our solution. And by that, it's a very self-contained deployment. And so why that's important for a company is because when you're rolling out new tech, you really don't want to be disruptive to the normal operations. And you also don't want to do too much too fast. And so, with our sort of out of the box IoT solution, companies can deploy our technology in a matter of hours. It doesn't even take weeks or months, and they can start getting data running through nearly immediately. So, that helps in terms of just quickly getting results. The other thing they can do, like I alluded to before, is take a very, very methodical, phased approach. Start with some singles, get some doubles. Don't go for the home run right out of the gate. And clients don't have to face that themselves. They can work with our great account management and customer support team to come up with that communications plan of rolling out the tech at a cadence and at a scale that makes sense for the company. And so we work with companies large and small to do that. And that seems to really help with the adoption by building on those incremental wins.
Can you share what you look for in particular for a good partner for Thinaer?
The main criteria that we look at, criterion is how does it make sense for the end customer, right? We're very laser focused on value for the customer. And so sometimes you see a potential partner's tech or services and you say, oh, wow, that's so cool. And you get enamored with what you could do together, but really putting that critical lens of how does this actually translate to benefits for the customer? And then, so we start with that as the main goal, and then we back into how does the partnership make sense from there. And that's through a mix of looking at different capabilities that the partner has, that we have, and how those strategically align. It's looking at the scale that the company, that the partner has. And in some cases, it's really looking at the different verticals that they're in or that they have an expertise in, that we look to align ourselves with. Is one example with consulting firms that have deep technical expertise in particular verticals. It's a great way for us to work with them because they can really exercise their extensive knowledge in that vertical. And because our solution cuts across so many different verticals, from manufacturing to defense to consumer packaged goods to healthcare, we're able to tap into those experts for those in those consulting verticals and feed them data that they're able to do then the work that they're experts in.
So you mentioned all these verticals. Do you have any interesting case studies or use cases that you can share from these partnerships?
We have a number of them, but one that I really like was a number of them that I really like. But a really interesting one is working with one of the communications company and a major airline to help really track assets, not only for that airline, but even the operations of that airline and at the airports that that airline operates in. And so by using cellular connectivity, it opens up a whole new world of IoT asset tracking, because I think a lot of people, when they think of asset tracking, especially if they don't know IoT or Internet of Things or even BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy, they tend to think of the old RFID, 30 somewhat year old technology. And what we use is much more advanced than that. But I think a lot of times people think that it has to be bound to a certain four walls of a factory. And with new technologies, you can start cutting across supply chain visibility and start going outside the four walls. And that's just a whole new exciting area that we're starting to see happen now, and it's a really great and exciting time to be in this space, and so that's a really fun use case. But there are others, but we'd be here all day.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So, like, that sounds like a really big project when you're talking about an airport and airlines. How do you roll something like this out? What does an implementation plan look like?
Yeah, so we always do some sort of stakeholder mapping to understand who are the main points of contact, what are their unmet needs with the solution that we're providing, and then how do we roll out the technology. And in some cases, it's as easy as the client says, they point to a room and they say, that's where I want it. And we take care of everything. Super, super white glove service. In other cases, they want to be more hands on and involved and let their stakeholders know. And so normally a pilot lasts anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks to 3 months. And the number of assets really ranges in terms of what we're looking to do. But that's why we have these great starter kits that companies can take advantage of. It gives them a really great cocktail of different sensors and different capabilities that they can use to roll out a test deployment and really kick the tires at their facility before they go really big and wide and deep at their other levels and different areas of their company. And so we work with clients in all those cases to come up with that appropriate rollout plan, communication plan. And like I said, sometimes it's as easy as they just point, we deploy, and we're up and running in a matter of hours and minutes. In other cases, they want to plan some things out and be a little bit more methodical and involve others and do some workshopping. But we're happy to work with anyone and everyone, whether that's the really, really fast deployment or someone that wants to take a bit more time.
That sounds great. And just lastly, I'll just leave it up to you. Anything else you want to add about partnerships, and just in general, how people can work with Thinaer?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that makes Thinaer special is I mean, we have really, we make the technology easy to deploy, and we've invested a lot in partnerships, like I said before, so that we can roll out the tech easily and quickly. But one of the other great things about the solution is that we are hardware agnostic. And so we're happy with BYOD, bring your own device, whether you use ours or your own. It makes us extremely nimble to any use case that may come up now or in the future. And as the cost of technology goes down, we're able to pass those cost savings on to our customers. There's a great use case example of this. I've been here about 4 years, like I mentioned, and in just that short span of time, I've seen the cost of technology fluctuate and go down, and so we're able to offer those, especially when different use cases come up for our customers, because the needs that they have today, I guarantee, are not going to be the same needs that they have in a year or 2 years or 5 years from now. And so you want to partner with someone that has that flexibility to give you the software that you need while still giving you the cutting edge hardware that's constantly coming out in the market. And so we're able to do that, as a company. But then when we work with other consulting, cloud, or communications companies as part of that integrative service, some cases clients don't even know that we've invested a lot in the partnership. Like, for example, when we tap into and use one of the networks of a communications firm and use their existing Wi-Fi access points, the client doesn't necessarily need to know that we've done all this work to integrate so that it can seamlessly roll out. They just think it magically works. In other cases, the client wants to have some hands-on consultative services that will help extend some of the data that they get through our platform. And so I think just being open and companies knowing that, and other potential partners, that we would love to explore, have coffee with you, talk through your solutions, and see how there might be a fit for us as partners, and certainly as new clients.
Great. Well, thank you, Cliff, for sharing these really valuable insights with us all. I'm sure the audience appreciated it.
Oh, I'm glad to do it. I hope there was a value, and thanks for inviting me to this.
No problem. And thank you for watching at home, or if you're listening to this, thank you. We would love to have you back. If you're interested in learning more about IoT solutions and IoT innovations, feel free to join our newsletter Out of Thin Air. We also have a new ebook out called Leading the Charge, and it's all about how we can support you on your journey of digital transformation and any IoT solutions that you might need. So we'd love to successfully partner with you for your project. So look out for the link in the description below. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.